Hey, and welcome back to the next episode of the Right Hand Drive Guys podcast, the podcast for guys who like right hand drives. I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
Yo.
I almost dropped it there. I've done it so many times.
Yeah, 140 in, dude. You almost forgot.
I almost forgot this guy was even here. Okay. Welcome to episode 141. And, after our talk with Lucho, it was like, dude, he's right. Like, Japan is not the same, and so we can obviously elaborate on that a ton, but the raw fact is that even in the past 2 years, Japan has transitioned in at such accelerated rate that it's almost, I'm not going to say unrecognizable, but it's almost a whole different thing, and not just within our culture, right? Not just within like the JDM cars. Like, yeah, we all have felt that change and maybe been a small part of that, right?
Yeah.
But on a more broad level, Japan has changed.
Yeah.
Japan has been influenced. It's been changed, right? So, with what he said and what he was speaking on was solely pretty much like the nighttime meets.
Right.
Like, what else?
The police presence.
Right, the police presence. Like, and I think that stuff is just such a small piece of like the big puzzle as far as like how Japan has changed.
Yeah, that's
right?
that's just our part.
Right.
Like that's just what we're
in
into
one piece of our part.
Yeah.
Or even two pieces of our part. But if you look at, and also just to elaborate on, I think it was interesting how he spoke of the Japanese and their need to show off.
Yeah.
I do think that was cool because it really made me think about it. And you see someone like Liberty Walk, right, who has made their living off, of course, like innovation and like some really cool stuff, but showing off.
Dude. Oh, yeah.
Like showing off. Like Liberty Walk is like the biggest show.
They wouldn't be Liberty Walk without
that.
Without that presence, without that
next level of like just flex.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
100%.
I mean, it's awesome. It's not necessarily like my thing.
Right.
But it's awesome. And that's another way. I mean, if you really think about it, yes, Liberty Walk has been around, right? Mm-hmm. But in the past, 3 to 4 years, Liberty Walk has like exploded.
Yeah,
like it has become a thing where guys are waiting a year to get their car done by Liberty Walk.
Right.
And so, that's
beyond that. I mean, just on the merch side too. Like there's people that aren't even necessarily in the car culture that deep that they like Liberty Walk because it's like almost like a streetwear brand.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's like
their
that
design,
cool thing.
yeah, their designs are sweet and they're kind of like I don't know what to call it, but it's like the next step, right?
Yeah.
Everything that they do, the collabs that they do,
right?
Like everything.
The Smurfs.
Yeah, the Smurfs,
like,
those little doll things, like So Japan is changing, and that doesn't mean it's totally a bad thing, right? There are definitely less favorable parts like police presence, Daikoku getting shut down at 8 p.m., some stuff like that, the congestion, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about non-car stuff for a second. We've seen things like how they're going to have the dual rate, right? Where me and you are going to pay, whatever, 15,000 yen for something, but locals are going to pay 12,000 yen.
Right.
That's a change. It never used to be like that, right? Everything is just is what it is. But they're being so overrun with tourists that they're like grasping at whatever they can to try to stay themselves in a sense, right? And try to honor the locals and try to like preserve.
Right. Like, what do you think they're actually trying to accomplish with that, with the extra tax on the tourists? Like, are they trying to slow people down from coming there and at the same time making more money off the people that are coming there? Or like, what's the game, you think?
Dude, it ain't gonna slow me down. That's for sure. I mean, I hate
Right.
to say it, but in my opinion, right, what's the strategy? Why do you create a dual tier system?
Right.
I think it's to do, what you said. I think it's only going to deter people without money, so to speak, or people that are very conscious about how they're spending their money, right? Because me or you, we're going to pay the 15. And maybe even in our heads, we're glad to pay the 15 because we think it's helping the Japanese culture.
Yeah.
Right? Like
can
guys
see that,
like you or I are like, oh, well, I don't mind paying the extra because I'm here and I'm using everything of theirs, and sure.
Yeah, and I'm into it, and I like it. So why not, right?
Yeah. Some people I could see would be like, oh, that's so lame, blah. But
Other tourists don't have to travel as far as we do
That's
to get
true.
there as well.
Yeah.
So
if you're from Korea, you're just hopping over the ocean real quick.
Right. Or I mean, Australia's not pretty close, but Australia's over there. I mean everywhere else around there except for America, right?
Yeah. Or
Like,
East
it's
Coast
not just,
America.
I don't think it's just an American tax, right?
No.
It's all the tourists.
Because, dude,
So
when
that's
we
also
go over
something
there,
to
there's a
think about.
lot. So, like, by what I've heard, not just from Lucho, but from a lot of people, is that pre-COVID, it was very low-key.
Mm-hmm.
There's tourists. There's always tourists, but
Yeah.
it was not being overran. And how do we know, like, oh, okay, it's being overran? Well, Kyoto is, like, screaming for help, pretty much. Like, they're literally shutting down some attractions to tourists and
shutting down parts of the city too, right?
right, to tourists and to foreigners
Yeah.
because they're so overran that they can't handle it, right? And so, you think about these things, you got a school group of kids, right? Which we saw in Kyoto was like everywhere, right? They're all doing school tours. They're coming from all around to do these tours.
Yeah.
Now these kids like are being bumped into and just like pushed aside by a bunch of tourists who have to see this temple, who need to get that picture of the Starbucks.
That's really what it is, right? They just need that picture.
Yeah.
And then it's on to the next.
It is.
It's kind of crazy how some...
It's a big loop.
If you kind of people watch, it's wild how, I don't know, people are just there for the picture. And then after that, it's, all right,
Yeah,
gone.
I agree.
Like, actually stand there and, like, take it in. Like, that's how you can tell the difference between... I don't know, the type of tourist, I guess.
Yeah.
There's the ones that want to say they've been somewhere, but then there's the person that's actually into it and sees it for what it actually is, not just a photo opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. I do think the cell phone culture, the whole Instagram, social media, like needing to flex what you're doing, I agree that that's ruined a lot because, right, a lot of people aren't doing exactly what you said, like embodying what this is and what this means to certain people and how old it friggin' is.
Right.
Regardless of what it is, they're literally, you can watch them and they like hit point to point with their phone.
Yeah.
They take the picture, like you said, they move on to the next picture.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, did you even like know what you just took a picture
What
of?
was that?
Like,
yeah.
what was
What's
that?
the name of
Like-
that temple?
Right.
What's the significance? So, yeah, I mean, it is sad when places like Kyoto have to start tightening up.
Yeah.
Because when we went, it was kind of busy, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't crazy. I would say it was half school kids, half tourists.
Right.
And dude, imagine Nara.
Yeah.
Dude, those deer are getting trains ran on them.
Oh my God, dude, those deer.
Yes, imagine what
dude.
that's like, dude.
Those, like, I've
Now.
seen a few of them. I've seen more and more aggressive videos with the deer than I have non. Like,
yeah.
are the deer getting fed up with it?
Are they tired? Are they getting social anxiety?
Yeah, right. They're like, all right, dude, we've had like 30 of these cookies today. Like,
No, 30 of these cookies in the past 10 minutes. Think about the rotation in Nara at the park
Dude.
for the cookies and like the deer. It's probably so packed now.
yeah.
That park is packed.
Right.
you
I
know?
mean, there was people there when we were there, but
Yeah.
I mean, we could comfortably move around and like whatever, have a group of deer come over. Like it wasn't overran, but right now, and that was right before Golden Week when we were there, I think.
Yeah.
That first time.
And Bella and I went, and we went to Nara, and it was a little more congested, and there was definitely more people that were like a little rude about it, right? Like you're sitting there doing a deer and they'll come over and like take the deer's attention
Yeah.
when you're trying to feed it a cookie, where it's like, what? Like, dude, just wait your turn. So that's probably part
Or
of it,
there's like
right?
plenty of them. Like,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is there's plenty of them, but there was a lot of people. So
Yeah.
there wasn't, the deer to person ratio was much less, you know? So
and that's, wow. Yeah. That's wild because like
it was a
for
lot.
decades and hundreds of years, I'm sure those deer have been native to that area and haven't moved out. Like, I wonder if it's going to get to a point where they're like, all right, dude, we're like done.
They disappear?
The deer disappear. And they're
That
like,
would
we're,
be crazy.
we're done. Like, we're done with these people.
That'd be sad.
It
Like realistically,
would be.
like that the deer move on. But, you know, and so like what else has changed? I think the culture, not the Japanese car culture, that of course, but the culture itself in Japan is shifting, right? It's not and that's due to the influence. I hate to keep blaming tourists, but when, let's just say, you know, whatever, 50 tourists come to this area and the way they do things does not match the culture, the local culture.
Yeah.
That starts to slowly change the culture, right? That starts to slowly turn things from how they were to how they are.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the hardest part is, you know, and it's not just Americans, right? And it all has to do with your culture. Ours is much different from Japan.
Yeah.
If we had went to Japan just because somebody told us it was cool and not because we were really into the culture and the cars, would we have been as like respectful and kind of like, you know, like considerate of these things and like kind of, or would we have acted like we did at home?
Right.
You would act like you did for the past 25, 30, however old you are.
Right.
Years.
You would just move the same way, right?
Yeah. And so I think that's part of the problem is that constant rotation of people who are moving the way that they move at home instead of moving the way that you need to move when you are a visitor somewhere.
Yeah.
They're moving like they're at home. And that I think is slowly changing the Japanese culture.
Right.
Not by choice, but by influence, you know?
Right. Just making things more strict, right? And like more rules in place, more signage, more, you know, restaurants and bars not allowing non-Japanese speaking people.
Because the people who want the money are conforming, right?
Yeah.
The people who want to keep the heritage are not.
Right.
And that's the difference. More English, more you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In these places that want the money.
Right.
The places that want to stick to the culture are like no signs, no English, no service, get out. You know what I mean? Which I can respect both.
Yeah.
You know, like, but yeah, I do. I hate to see that part change because that, you know, beyond the cars, like that culture, the Japanese culture and kind of like tippy-toeing around to make sure that you're not kind of dragging down that culture. That was part of the fun too, you know, and being involved in that. Like, for example, when Albo took us to the temple.
Oh, right.
And we did what the locals did, right? Like, he explained to us, which also helps. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of these people don't have someone to explain it to them.
Yeah. But there is YouTube.
There's
so
YouTube.
You can definitely do some research.
Dude, top 10 things not to do in Japan. Top 10 you know, customs to follow in Japan. Like anything, dude, you know, but doing that temple was like super surreal. There was all Japanese people in front of us.
Yeah.
All doing that ritual that you do at the temple. And then for us to partake in that instead of maybe just doing what we thought we should do was way special, you know? And so I think, you know, embracing and being a part of the culture is just as important as getting over there.
Yes, I agree. Because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, I think that's also part of like what's cool about it is it is so different and it opens your eyes to other ways of living, other, you know, just other customs. Like, I don't know, just world travel, I guess, in general, kind of can open your eyes if you let it.
If you allow it, with intention.
Right. Which, I mean, I think I learned so much that I probably don't even realize from just the couple weeks that I was over there.
Yeah, no, so. I agree. Like and so to the point, if we go over there and move, as you would say, like we do here, you're missing out. Like,
Right,
dude,
yeah.
you're literally missing out, because if you had reevaluated it and gone in there with that attitude of participating in the culture,
Right.
dude, yeah, you would have learned a lot more, and you probably would have been more affected overall.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can just like involve yourself instead of walking by and be like, well, what the hell are those people doing? What are
Yeah.
they clapping twice and like what?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what are
yeah.
they doing? You know?
Yeah. Why is that guy standing over there and eating? Like, does he have places to be?
Right. Like
Yeah, it's right there eating is where he's supposed to be right now.
Why are these people grilling at me for
Yeah.
walking and eating?
Right. Yes.
Like-
yeah. Because you're totally oblivious because you didn't do your
And
research.
it's like, oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
And okay, I'll eat in front of the 7-Eleven from now on.
And so, I'm sure you would see prices of a lot of things that tourists use, even in our culture, right?
Yeah.
Going up a little bit. Like the up garage deals aren't as much deals anymore.
Yeah.
This
they're
and
just
that.
wiped.
Yeah, and right, they're wiped because of the tourists coming in and just like running through there.
Yeah.
Whereas 10, 15 years ago, that was a place for the Japanese dude to come get some used parts and save some money on his build.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't even want to go through there because it's just cameras and, all these
Yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
recording and trying to find things. And so, why since COVID? Like that's the thing. Like,
Yeah. We were
why?
talking about that the other day. Like
Why since COVID?
I don't know. Well, I was always thinking like not only us, like we're to the age where we can afford these cars and we can afford to travel and do these things that we've kind of wanted to our whole life. Well, like more than just cars come out of Japan. Like there's, whatever. Anime, that's a huge one. Like, dude, electronics, just like all kinds of stuff. Everyone, I don't know, anyone can find something that they're deeply into in Japan, I feel like.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I feel like everyone is getting to that age to where they can do the travel and they can. So I feel like that's.
So you think it's like, you think the majority of them are whatever, 28 to 42? Like, ish?
If I had to assume, I would assume that.
Yeah,
So-
they're like 28 to 42.
I mean,
They
there
have
are
some-
exceptions for sure.
Sure. Yeah, there's 22-year-olds over there. There's 55-year-olds for sure.
Yeah.
But like, that's probably the age range that, you're referring to as far as like now they have a little disposable income. Their interests have matured a little bit in the
Right.
sense of like how deep they are into it. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. But you would think with the upper end of that age range that they would be conscious enough of the culture.
Right.
Because if they are into that, whether it's anime, whether it's JDM cars, whether it's goddamn friggin' claw machines, dude. You know what I mean? You would
Yeah.
think that if you liked it that much, that you would have that understanding like we do.
Right.
Just in like the tippy toeing around to make sure that you're not.
But
being
then
that
again,
guy.
a lot of people don't carry themselves like that in their real life, like in their non-tourist life. You
Yeah,
know what
you're
I mean?
right.
It's tough. So,
Yeah, I agree.
and with the car culture, it's getting to a spot where I feel like it's going to be like you have to know somebody to get in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to it's not just like it's not this open arms like, "Oh, you're into our stuff? Cool. Come on over. Let me give you a ride in my car." It's not necessarily like that anymore because I feel like that's been worn out. Like
Yeah.
I've seen, multiple Instagram posts from people like Joey Lee and June from Hardcore Tokyo
Yeah.
talking about like, hey, if you're a tourist, stop hitting us up, like in verbatim, like not verbatim, but like stop hitting us up. We're not going to show you street drifting. We're not going to take you on the Osaka Loop. Like we're not doing this. Like
Yeah.
stop. You're like ruining it,
Yes.
kind
I
of
could
in a
see
sense.
that.
So I mean, it's
That is a thing, right? Everybody wants the experience.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I get it, dude. I want the experience. Shit, man, I want to hit the fucking loop with Joey Lee and the Exceed boys. Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
But I know better. I know better because the issue again with social media has made you think that you have the right to experience everything that you see.
yeah.
And I don't think that that's it. you know, and sure, maybe 10 years ago, if you were organically there,
Yeah.
not there searching out these experiences, but if you're organically there in the right place in the right time,
Yeah.
you could probably run with the no good racing dudes.
Probably, yeah.
You know, you probably could.
Well, I mean, just like Lucho was saying, he showed up and like the car community was super welcoming. And that wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. I mean, even when we were there, you know, the first time, April of 23,
Yeah.
that's how it was to an extent, you
Yeah.
know, like everybody welcomed us. And even that following February of 24, it felt a little different,
Yeah.
but like, you know, especially because we're with Jesse and Jay and like, you know, we have these different groups of people who people also know, but still we were welcomed, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's definitely gone away. Like it's been worn out, as you would say.
Right. Like, quick story, like that time, right after Week Fest, we were at the parking area. I forget which one that was called, but it was right outside of.
It was right outside of. Dang, of course
I
you
know,
can't remember it. Nagoya.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I saw these 3 Skylines pull up to the gas pumps, and their cars were sick, and I just saw them at Week Fest, so I took a pic, and I was able to find who they were, just searching Instagram, found who they were, tagged them, and a few minutes later, I get a message from one of the dudes saying, "Hey, would you guys like to come to an underground Tokyo meet?" And he sent me the pin, and I was like, "Oh, awesome. Thanks for the invite, dude."
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was sick.
And yeah, we went there, and it was
absolutely
sick, dude.
Yeah.
It was a lot of those cars that we were seeing at Week Fest, but like out on the streets, and a few trailered in, and a lot of them, a lot of cars we haven't seen.
Yeah.
So that was super cool, and it was like one of those kind of organic things that just kind of happened, right place, right time.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I feel like that would never happen.
Right.
Like,
They
there
wouldn't
ain't no way.
hit you up to invite you somewhere.
Right.
For sure. Like
Just from taking a picture at you guys at the gas pump. Like,
it was a sick picture. Like they were
it
sick
was.
cars.
That was cool. And they were lined up too perfect.
Yeah, it
like
was
32,
awesome,
33,
dude.
34. Like
Yeah.
I still follow all those dudes.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
Yeah.
So like so it's the amount of people and the amount of overexposure that is changing our culture over there.
Right.
Like you're saying, right? Like when somebody tries to have a meet, it gets pushed out to the internet. Way too many people show up. The cops are there immediately. Dude, you just ruined their night.
Yeah.
Like you just ruined their meet because all of you had to come, park around the outsides, just be taking all your videos. Again, the phones are like probably the biggest problem. You pull into Daikoku,
dude,
and it's literally anywhere where these people can stand. Doesn't matter if it's on a guardrail, on the grass.
Insane.
It doesn't matter, on the roof of their car.
Like, dude, seeing the videos from Daikoku, like, I'm sure, it might be the worst times, but like, holy shit, that gives me an anxiety attack.
They're
Seeing
all
those
around
people,
there, yeah.
dude, and just like all of them with their phone out, and like you don't know who these people are. Like,
no clue.
I mean, that could be a streamer with 1 million followers,
Yeah.
or it could just be some dude
that's taking
Billy
a video
Ding Dong
that'll
over
never
there,
get
yeah.
seen anywhere. Yeah, it is interesting. Like they all just wait there at the entrance, and then they all wait at the exit, and it's like it is a little overwhelming. So if you're a local who was used to going there when it was low key, dude, that's too much.
Yeah.
So
real.
I can see where things are changing in that aspect. And so, where does that go from here though? Where does this go? Does it continue? Like, does Daikoku die out entirely? Like, does it move more and more to the outside of the city where like the cops aren't quite as used to this happening?
Right.
Well, I don't know. Where does it go?
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I mean, it's such a strange like phenomenon. I feel like having like this central meeting point at a parking area, like they can't shut down the parking area because then where would the truckers go and do all that? So then what are they going to do? Make it truckers only, or like
maybe?
What are they going to do? I mean, are they just going to continue to police it and shut it down over and over and over
every
again?
night?
And then,
Damn.
I mean, also, like, what about the convenies that are in there? Like,
Yeah.
are they losing business? Like, I'm sure they still do a ton.
I'm sure they
but,
do a
like,
ton, but not like when people are
they're
there
not doing
till
it
1
all
a.m.
night
Yeah.
long and into the morning. Right?
Sometimes that Lawson is
It's
so cleared out.
Yeah,
It's insane, dude. All you can find is a friggin' plum nigiri. You're just like, what the hell is going on in here? Like, yeah, it is crazy, and I'm sure it's awesome for seriously, for the owners, but like for the staff workers, for the people that have to clean up the place.
Yeah.
Like, dude, not everybody's picking up their trash. Like
that's another
over
thing.
there.
That's another thing that sucks, and to see like start happening is one of the things that our first trip over was like, dude, there's no trash anywhere.
What the hell?
There's also no trash cans.
Yes.
What the hell?
is going on? Do they eat it?
Yeah. I guess, right?
They're composted.
But I mean, now I feel like, if you look in the background of some people's videos and stuff, it's like, okay, all right,
Yeah,
This place
trash
is kind of getting trashed.
Yeah.
Like-
and they, sure, they got street cleaners, they got all that stuff, but dude, like, they were used to cleaning up a few little things. Now
Right.
it's just like, frig, dude, you drive around here, there, around New York, anywhere, it's trashed, you know?
Right.
So,
It sucks.
yeah, I mean, it does suck. It's like, depressing. As bad as that is to say, it is depressing that this is where we're at in such a short period of time.
Right.
And, it doesn't discourage me from going to Japan. I absolutely love Japan. I know how to treat Japan. I know how to enjoy myself without interrupting the locals or leaving a bad impression of my people over there, so to speak. But, are the things that we go over there for going to be less and less? Because let me tell you, Tokyo Auto Salon is nut to butt with tourists.
Dude, yeah.
It's insane. It's insane.
It almost makes it like not as special.
Yes.
Like it's
and
just,
not as fun either
right.
because
and I'm sure it's like that for the people that are participating.
yeah, I'm sure because Tokyo Auto Salon, yes, it's always been popular, but like it used to be a good ratio of people to where you could actually, form relationships with some of these people because you had more than 30 seconds to talk to them because there wasn't some other dude like right up your butt trying to talk to this dude, and so I definitely did notice it at Auto Salon, like even from, we went 24.
Yeah.
Bella and I went in 25. Dude, 25 was so much more packed than 24. I went back and looked at a video from each. Dude, like
Insane.
the one up on top of the escalators. Yeah, dude. There's just so many more people.
Yeah.
It becomes it's hard. It's hard to do. So and so now I have no desire to go back to Auto Salon. Like
Right.
I don't. I would rather do like Osaka Auto Messy and like hope that that's not, gonna get taken over by tourists as well.
You're gonna do the what?
Osaka Auto Messy.
Shh.
Oh shit!
You don't blow up the spot.
Yeah,
dude.
I know, dude. I know. And so like, what was the point of this episode? Like we just felt compelled to elaborate on the fact that like he brought up a really good point.
Yeah, he did.
Like things are changing there, and the only way that they will at least stop, they're not going back, right? He made that clear, and I think that that's a very good statement that it will never be like it was.
Right.
But we want to avoid it becoming what it could be.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. It will never be what it was, but like we can avoid having it become what it could be.
Right. We can avoid streakers at Daikoku.
Yes, don't whip your dick out at Daikoku, dude. Like, dude, there is no dicks out at Daikoku night, dude. That's not a thing, dude. It's not. I'm telling you right now. So those type of bad decisions by people who are either under the influence of alcohol or whatever they are, those are the things that really affect the future, right? Because, we heard about that. The cops heard about that. They know. They got cameras all around that pig.
They saw it.
They literally have a room in that huge police station just watching everybody at Daikoku like, oh, yeah, here comes a dick. Cool. And it's like those type of things, they don't do that. Like, sure, maybe we're ding-dongs and streak at baseball games, right? They don't do that. And it's just a respect thing. So I think the message from this episode is simply like respect the culture.
Yeah.
Do your research before you go over there. Make sure that you're going to be able to, you're going to be able to follow that line and not veer too far outside of it, so that you aren't contributing to what's happening. Right.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. I mean, just be respectful and, be mindful of other people. Like if you think that something that you're doing is bothering other people, then just like, don't do it.
Yeah, like if you feel that feeling, we've all felt that feeling, like, oh shit,
they're looking at me.
Damn,
funny.
am I
Like,
doing
maybe
it?
Just be low key. Like, just you
you're
don't have
not
to
there.
be crazy.
Actually, you're not there. That's how you need to kind of be, is not there.
Yeah.
Don't draw attention to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't make it about you. Just don't be there, so to speak.
Right.
And I feel like that is, if you can, leave no trace, right?
Yeah.
If you can come to Japan and leave no trace that you were there, you did friggin' awesome, dude.
Yeah.
You really did. And so, like, I know I love Japan, you love Japan, and I'm sure a lot of you guys listening, watching, whatever, I'm sure you love Japan whether you've been there or not. So let's prevent it from becoming what it could be by kind of following what we just said. Leave no trace of being there.
Yeah. And embrace their culture.
Embrace the culture, because that's what you fell in love with, you crazy son of a gun. Literally, you fell in love with the culture. So respect it.
Yeah.
For episode 141, I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
See ya.
Peace.